Paris and Achilles for participating today. We are going to record this to share with everybody for later. But Paris and Achilles, I'll let you guys go ahead and get started.
Wonderful. So just to start, my name is Paris. For those of you I don't know, I'm the president and CEO of the Lorain County Urban League. Thank you all for joining us today. And of course, thank you to the Community Foundation for even asking us. When we first had this conversation, I was like, I didn't think we did that great, but okay. Thank you. And of course, we're always willing to share what works best for us because at the end of the day, it helps our community as a whole. So we're honored to be here with you all today.
Awesome. And my name is Achilles Morales. I am the Education and Youth Development Coordinator, but I also help Paris out with social media marketing, and then just strategies on all of our programs. So I'm very excited to be a part of this today and to share some best practices with you. So I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. All right. Sorry. Okay, so we are the Lorain County Urban League. And just to give you a quick background information on who we are, our mission is to empower African Americans and underserved individuals to thrive through direct service, collaboration, and advocacy. Our values and our pillars are empowerment, and advocacy, collaboration, and integrity. Or I should say those are our values, not necessarily our pillars. But we were established in 1978, and we're part of the larger National Urban League movement that has 90 affiliates and serves 300 communities. And we also have been serving over 1 million people nationally. So we are part of a great movement, and we take pride in all of our work. So when we were thinking about connect to a cause and what our best practices were, there really are in these spaces of understanding who our audience is, and then connecting them to stories of real people that have been a part of our Urban League affiliate, not just within the last year, but throughout the years. We have a lot of clients that continue to come back to us for services or that refer people to us, and sharing those stories are really important. So I want to just touch base first on knowing your audience. So when we were thinking of who were we reaching out to be a part of our Connect to a Cause Day, we really look towards our community partners, people who we're working with daily in the community, and people who have donated to us in the past. We also look to people who we have served and our clients, whether that's through our housing or our employment services, or even previous students who have participated in our educational program and have graduated college and are looking for ways to give back to their community. We made sure that they knew that this was an option for them that was easy. We also empowered all of our staff in our office to use their personal networks to participate in that day. And so we started in August and really gave ourselves, more than a month. I think Paris, maybe it was like a month and a half to really market towards our personal networks, our friends, reach out to the people who are already engaged with us. And I think this was also a good opportunity we learned for community partners to find other ways to help us, because they're always asking what other ways they can help. And so that was a really good opportunity. I don't know if Paris, you want to add any more to?
Oh, I think that's great, Achilles. So absolutely. So we sat down as a team and we were like, who is going to receive this message best? And what kind of campaign do we want to create for that audience? And so I think a lot of times as nonprofits, when we think about raising money, we're thinking about people who normally give money, people who are in philanthropy, people who understand the importance of giving back. But we don't think about the everyday person who might not necessarily just be aware that there's an option for you to help strengthen or organization or your community through this. And so we were so appreciative that Community Foundation came up with this, because we have been doing research around Black philanthropy and what it looks like in neighborhoods for individuals to help systems thrive. So in the Black community, you would see one grandmother who was literally the babysitter for the whole community. And so they didn't necessarily pay her in dollars, but people would bring food over her house or toys over her house or whatever they needed to sustain that at-home daycare that wasn't necessarily official, but the community needed it and she was there. And so what did that look like for us? And so we created a campaign that was called I Got Five on It, which is a song in the Black community that is not the best song, but it's a song that resonates with the community and it pulls people in. So of course we didn't use all the lyrics. If you look it up, you might be appalled, but the reality is majority of Black people, Black, brown, underserved people, they know what that song is. It brings back nostalgia and like this idea of where you were at that time when the song came out. And so we were like, okay, we want people to give. We don't want to force people to give hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. And that did happen for us on our campaign because of the community members that we connected with that wanted to help. But for the most part, we were looking to get the most people to donate. And so we asked people to put $5 or to donate $5 and to ask other people to just donate $5 and showing the community that we can raise a lot of money when we all do it collectively. But it doesn't necessarily take that billionaire to come in and change everything. But if we could all put into the pot, we could all move forward in a positive direction, but it takes all of us. Of course, all of our services here at the Urban League are free, majority of all of them, unless there's like a grant fee for whatever purpose for like a federal grant, but 9 times out of 10, all of our programs are free. And so we didn't ask any program participants that were in current programs because we didn't want them to feel obligated, but we definitely tapped into the resource of asking past participants. We know your story, we know how we've helped you, you've told us thank you a million times. Can you do this one thing for us? On September, I think last year was 18th, between 8 to 8, can you please donate $5 and ask anyone you know to donate $5? And so we were very happy with the outcome and just our thought process of like, we know we can't ask our people for a lot of money. They don't have a lot of money, but if you could skip going to McDonald's this week to help the Urban League, it'll make the difference.
Yeah, Paris, perfect. You touched on stuff I was gonna touch on, so that's great. I think another thing that was really important to us, especially myself coming from a community organizing background, is understanding the importance of story. So Paris and our team, we got together and we knew that all day we can talk about the people that we're serving and the impact that we're having until we're blue in the face, but the impact is different when you're actually hearing it from those people who have come to us and have seen success or how we've impacted their lives. And so it was really important for us that during this campaign as well, we were sharing people's successes. And so we had a graphic campaign where folks who came through our employment services or educational services, or folks who got a house through our program, gave their own testimonials. And we sprinkled those out throughout August and September, mixed in with making the ask online to give us $5, that's all it takes to make a difference, but to also show the community who may not necessarily be super familiar with the work that we're doing, the impact that we're having on community members in Lorain County. I think that,
let me answer this question from Jennifer. Thanks, Britt. So Jennifer Black, because the song is like R-rated, we use the beat, the instrumental of the song, because it resonates with the Black and brown community. And so like if we did a video on Insta story or Snapchat or Facebook story, I don't know if that's what it's called because I'm not a true millennial, but if that's what it's called, we put the instrumental of the song. So or we put the hook that just said, I got 5 on it. And then Achilles is going to show you a graphic that we made, but basically said, I got 5 on it, do you? And so really trying to like get people to be like, oh, okay, the Urban League said I got 5 on it, asking people, do you have it? And so it was just creating that notion in people's minds early on. So then when it started to get closer to the date and we were sending out emails and text messages and graphics, that people were like, okay, now I have to remember on this day to do that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Perfect. Yeah, and I would say, Paris, also that's part of our messaging consistency of just being consistent in what you want to say and what you're asking of people, but then giving them something that they can remember the day of, so that it was easy for people to remember that on, I think it was September 17th, I'm gonna give $5, right? And that worked really well for us. So the other thing that we did, we created some new things, but success stories, just to be totally transparent is something that is really important anyway, and something that, we care a lot about and we wanted to do. So this was just a good opportunity for us to start launching those and being consistent with sharing those once a month after that. So it was great. This was a great motivator to make sure that we designed that and kept it going together. But utilizing things that we already use. So we send out a quarterly newsletter already. And so we decided to, since we already have this platform on MailChimp, let's send out, 2 newsletters that were easy to put together or connect to a cause. So thinking about August is August the beginning of the quarter? I can't remember. Okay, maybe not. But yeah, so I don't think so. but putting one out in August and then one, like the morning of Connect to a Cause, so that all of our corporate funders or corporate partners and other larger community partners who receive, and our Urban League members especially, who may not all live necessarily in Lorain County. We have Lorain County Urban League members all across the country who are supporting us. So making sure that since they're not with us every day in the community, that they can also donate and then have that reminder the first thing in the morning of their workday. And that was really critical.
And when you talk about members, we allowed our Urban League members, since it was September, to pay their annual dues through Connect to a Cause for the following year. That was a decision that I made with the board and our finance team, because our goal was to, raise money for Connect to a Cause. And some of our constituents were like, well, can I pay my dues? And I had never thought about that. I was like, yeah, why not? We're still going to get the money. The money's going to come back to the Urban League. And then I really will give a testament to the Community Foundation that did a great job at giving us a detailed sheet of who gave what, how much, and all that. So we were able to tie that back to our records for our memberships.
So Tammy, if it's just to answer your question, it's both and. So we sent out a newsletter that was exclusive for Connect to a Cause. That's all. It only had that information on it, but we also made it part of our normal newsletter, I think. Is that right, Paris?
Yeah, so July, so like he said, we usually send them out quarterly. So in our July newsletter, we said Connect to a Cause is going to be on this day at this time. We want you all to mark your calendars or something like that. Then August, we sent one out that was just for Connect to a Cause, with like 2 success stories that Achilles is going to share with you all. And then a week before, we sent a reminder. Just a reminder, don't forget, Connect to a Cause is coming up next Thursday. If it was on a Thursday, we said next Thursday, we sent it 1 week. And then we sent one out the morning of, and those were just specifically for Connect to a Cause.
So I talked a little bit about message consistency, but even Connect to a Cause, using that as a hashtag and then creating your own hashtag is super important. So I think Paris was our hashtag. The hashtag that we were using too was, I think, Black Giving is Magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just something that can, sorry, there's a really loud motorcycle outside, I'm sorry. But also thinking about that, what can be unique to your organization that also is going to help people remember, or that people can be excited about sharing once they've made a donation, because that makes a huge difference, especially we all have different followings on social media. I can say that even though I have a ton of friends, not everybody is as engaged when I post something, but that's not the case for all of us. So really also utilizing, those folks who are super excited to be your champions in the work that you're doing, and utilizing them to essentially be the influencer for that day. So that's also an opportunity for you to, reach more people, especially if you know that they're gonna get a lot of likes or even some shares from that. And then the last thing that was really important is just thinking about your timeline. So when do you want to start promoting this event? And then how are you going to ramp that up? So maybe, for us that looked like once a week we were posting something on social media, but as it got closer to the date, we were maybe posting something every other day so that it was always in people's face. Or also, thinking about boosting your your posts on social media. So thinking about Facebook or Instagram, and now Facebook makes it, so it takes a little bit of work with their new business suite that they have, but it definitely makes it easier to make one post that can be sent out on both of those platforms since they own them. And then if you are, being innovative and working on TikTok or on Twitter, I don't have any advice for you on TikTok. All I do is scroll. But I think that's really important to think about, is how you want to ramp that up, and how do you aim to gain more engagement as you get closer to that date. Something in the chat.
I think the only population we had a problem with giving online was probably our seniors. And I don't think that will be a problem this year, because Community Foundation heard that was a barrier. And so they created a great form that individuals can fill out and write checks for the day of, or given to you like the day before, but they have postmarked the check and things of that nature. So I don't think that should be a problem this year. I think Britt or Aurora can probably talk to like what that process looks like. But last year that was a barrier for people who weren't comfortable. I will say the Community Foundation's system is secure when you're donating. And so for us, we did a tutorial on our phone of how to go through the process of giving the donation. And we showed people that it was a secure platform.
Mm-hmm. And Paris, yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. We do have that form, and so it's really up to you, right? So your donors, the people in your space that are having that hesitation. We had some organizations tell those people that they could call them the day of, and they entered in their credit card information for them on the site. So you just go donate, find your organization and do it for them. Let them know you're not keeping the number or anything. Or that form that we did revamp this year, having it out in enough time, having it printed, making sure that they can either come into your office or that you mail it to them, even with a post stamp with the envelope, so they could go ahead and send it. All you have to do is sign, put your check in and go. So it really is knowing who those people are and meeting them where they are to make sure that they're still able to give.
Yeah, thanks, Brent.
Yeah, see you soon. But yes, so we, also I would say just having an open line of communication, it was helpful for us to be able to talk to those people and encourage them and make them feel secure in the decision of giving online. That also helped us a lot. So I'm going to show you, we're almost done here with my slides, but I did want to show you just some examples of the graphics that we created. So the first one, it's not moving. Okay. So this is the one that, the one on the left, you see it says, I got 5 on it, do you? So that's one that Paris actually designed. And you can see that we also try to be consistent in just colors. That's a huge thing. You wouldn't believe the amount of time that Paris and I spend going back and forth on things. So that it looks as perfect, but I think also thinking about how you can be consistent when in your posts, thinking about colors and design so that they're easy to spot out by people, and they're reminded, like the first one that you see on the right, it was provided by the Community Foundation, and they had really great graphics. So we tried to keep consistent with at least the colors so that people could recognize that this is also part of Connect to a Cause. And we included all of the logos as well. So there you see Black Giving is Magic. We Are the Movement. Those are some of our hashtags to make sure that we can track them, and then also people can share them as well when they're sharing.
And
So
we were grateful that Community Foundation sent some graphics over, so we had an idea on what theme they were going for. And the theme was literally Connect to a Cause, and they had made a logo already, so it was perfect. So as we went through the process of creating more logos, so I think they gave us a handful of them, but as Akili said, to our timeline, we were posting something every week, and then we went from every week to every other day. So we didn't want to post the same graphics because we have a large following on social media that we've built up, and it's just a standard here at the Urban League that we don't want to post the same thing. That is not, there's nothing wrong with posting the same thing. It's just, we are both millennials, Achilles and I, and so we're always mindful that we want our constituents to see something new so that it draws them in. And so we would have something new, same kind of outcome, same design, same color scheme. We usually wouldn't use these bright colors for the Urban League. We try to stick with our color wheel for the Urban League, but like Achilles said, really emphasizing you cannot, if you have a psychology background, your mind is you have to see the same thing. You have to see something that can connect to the other thing. Or by the time we get to the date, which is September 16th this year, you're like, okay, what do they want me to do again if everything is different? So you want to make sure that you have that consistency so that in the back of their mind, they're like, oh, this is for that, and really connect those dots.
Yep.
And I just want to hop in really quick and say, Lorain County Urban League, it was our first year of doing Connect to a Cause, and I feel like you guys really understood the assignment. So thank you. So from our end, when we're designing these things and all of this, the whole idea is we are giving you all the same thing. And if you all do just what we gave you, nobody's going to be able to tell the difference between your organizations, right? And so now there's being 65 of them. I remember the first time I'm like, they did their own design. I was so excited because that is what it was designed for you to make it their own. We support all of you, but it really is your job to stand out and be on top of people's mind that day, right? And so they really understood the assignment. I'm excited to see what they did this year. And I don't know what platform you guys used to design, but all the designs that the Community Foundation did was through Canva. And I think we said before in our orientation, nonprofits can get the pro for free if you sign up and fill out the paperwork. And it is really worth it. I don't want to take credit of, I'm not a graphic designer by trade, but it makes it really easy for us to be able to get some of these things and turn it around quite quickly, even if you're unfamiliar. So I've had some people reach out already and say, I don't know how to do that. I don't really either, but if you just take a little bit of time, you can make some things look really great. So thank you.
I would definitely encourage everyone. Thanks so much, Britt. We use Canva too. For all the graphics, if you follow us on social media, our hashtag for all platforms is not hashtag, but our @LC Urban League for all platforms. We use Canva. And we don't even have Canva Pro. So Achilles, I'm gonna need you to look into that.
I know.
We can get it for free. But so to think about, we're only using the free version. Okay, as nonprofits, you can afford what you can afford, and marketing was not in our budget. And hopefully we will be able to, do that. But everybody loves Canva. Canva is amazing. You can use if you're not good at it, there's templates that are already made that you can just change the color scheme for you. But once you get the hang of it, like right now, me and Achilles just blank canvas. Okay, what's the idea? And we can make it. So just be mindful that you can make great things come from that. And if you're not good at it, ask somebody else in your affiliate or in your organization. Hey, do you have any interest? Could you do this? Or any volunteers that you have that might have time to just create graphics, because they want to give that portion back to the organization. So think outside the box. It doesn't, you don't have to be great at it. You just got to know somebody that has a little bit of skill. And then once you have that, you're on your way. I think Jennifer from Leadership Lorain County made a great point. She uses a minimum of 3 posts to rotate, and you can always schedule posts. So I didn't think about that, Jen. You can schedule posts on Facebook. And I think if you connect your Facebook and Instagram account, it might populate on Instagram, but I'm not sure because we don't do it that way. But if you schedule them, you don't have to think about it. So create them, schedule them out, and then they're already there. And that has been helpful for larger campaigns for us as well.
Yeah, I would also encourage folks who aren't familiar with Canva and the way that it works. I learned a lot of stuff by looking up tutorials on YouTube. And so that can be a good way to just get a basic understanding of graphic design. I'm blessed enough to have a graphic design person in my life who critiques my stuff, and then we're able to go back and forth. But I would definitely encourage anyone to check out YouTube and just find tutorials. There are endless resources there. So the next graphics I'm showing are just 2 stories. So I know on the left, you'll see a success story from Rayshawn, who participated in our Rising Stars program and is in med school now, which is really exciting.
And she gets married next week.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
And so, she took the time to really share her story with us. And we shared that during our Connect to a Cause campaign to just see the successes of our programs. She's not only is she does she have a master's degree, Paris?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. But also, she's in medical school and she's really doing it. So just a huge impact that our partnership with Mercy has had on not just her, but several other students, and it's really amazing. And then on the left, you'll see one of our board members. So we also took the opportunity to just not let people get to know who we've served and who's had success through us, but who is part of our team. And so this is Catherine Wiskovnik, and she helps us out not only as a board member, but through our Rising Stars program. And so just letting the community get to know all of the Urban League. People are interacting with me, Paris, and Dee Baker probably every day. But we have so many other team members that make the work that we're doing so impactful. And honestly, we couldn't get that work done without them. So making sure that everybody in our community realizes how medium-sized our team is and how mighty they are. So we found that to be really important. So there's 2 hashtags that we used here too during that time period. So the one for our staff and our board was members of the movement, and the other one was My Urban League Story. And we just made sure that we did that as we were using our Connect to a Cause graphics at the same time. So that it kept people coming back, but not always for the same information, for a little bit more. And next time that they saw a Connect to a Cause post, maybe they were moved a little bit more emotionally to give because of these stories. That is the last slide. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else to this, Paris.
No, I think, Achilles, you said it all. You have to tell your story. All of our organizations do great work. We all do different things. And so how do you set yourself apart? I think, Achilles, can you stop sharing so I can see everybody? I'm weird like that. I think for you have to really think about how to set yourself apart. So it was a little overwhelming for us when individuals were going to give, like everybody's name is listed. Like you can easily get distracted. I got distracted. I was given to this person and that person. I'm like, okay, where's leadership? The people that make sense to me. I said, shoot, I didn't give to my own organization. I had to go back, right? Like, what are you doing, Paris? Stay focused on the task. The task is given to the Urban League. But So it can happen no matter what you do, somebody can get distracted. So the goal is to just make sure your information is out front. I told people there's so many great organizations to give to. Just give me $5, right? Like, I don't care. You can do memberships here, there, everywhere. Just don't forget about the Urban League. Just give us something. And the minimum was $5. So that's why we picked that number. And it just happened to tie to the song, if that makes sense. Because I would have liked to do a dollar campaign, but we couldn't do that. So keep that in mind, that all of us are on the platform. They have to scroll by everyone's name. So you want to be very mindful that you have to stick out. There has to be a commitment to your organization. It can't just be like, oh, I'm interested in the Y, or I'm interested in leadership, and I'm using them because I know that they're on the call. Like, it has to be like, I'm a member of Leadership Lorain County. I went in the best classes, so and so I'm committed to giving. Or my daughter was in a class at the Y, and so that's why I'm getting on and committed to giving. So just keep that in mind, because I was like, people are getting so distracted. One of my friends sent me a screenshot, said I gave, and it was to El Centro. I'm like, we ain't El Centro, but I'm glad you blessed them. Now go back and give me $5. She's like, I'm so sorry, right? And it was more money than what I asked her to give, and I was grateful that she blessed El Centro, but I was like, can you go back and give $5, please? Because that was the goal. She's like, I'm so sorry. But so just be mindful. And then the last thing that I would say is be mindful that anyone can give. So we had people that were not in Lorain County giving. So I don't care where you live. If you're connected to Lorain County, if you just my cousins and them that live in Florida and want to help me be successful, just ask. And you will be surprised at the people that we asked. And they were like, we're always just wanting an opportunity, but nobody asked us to do anything. So keep that in mind.
And I want to piggyback really quick, because I know that Laura and I both have had conversations with organizations. Some organizations have another event the exact same day of Connect to a Cause, or right around, or maybe they send out, their year-end appeal letter, and they're like, well, I don't want to ask too much or do this and do that. And that's when you really have to, come up with a strategy and figure out what works best for you. I know I serve on multiple boards, and I've asked them, can I give my year giving during Connect to a Cause? Is that okay? Some individuals have match programs through their jobs. And so it's really you coming up with a strategy. And like Paris just said, you have to ask, because if you don't ask, then you don't receive, right? And we actually had a few organizations that, afterwards came to us and said, we did not promote like we should have, but we still had some people give. And it's great because you're on that registry, and all 65 are going to be right there. So, Urban League, or Lorain County Urban League, is under the L's, so people had to scroll through half the page to find it. But, making sure that people know who you are, that you're on there and want to give something. Laura, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback a little bit on something that Paris had said early on, in the sense of, this is just as much about marketing and promoting awareness about your organization as it is outreach to your current donor base. And I feel like if you only focus on your existing donors and the people that you're going to ask to give on a regular basis, you're missing the point, because a large part of this is who can you reach out to that you aren't already talking to, and who are the folks, I don't know if Paris and Achilles know the data, but I know when we spoke with Jennifer Bracken at the Metro Parks last week, she was talking about how many brand new donors they got because they weren't on their radar, but because they scrolled through and gave to the Urban League, or scrolled through and gave to Leadership Lorain County. They also gave to the Metro Parks. But just the general idea even of awareness, the marketing that we're doing to, the Rotaries and to the Lions Clubs and to the Chambers of Commerce and to the Mayors Associations and to the media, that's all additional marketing for your organization as well. So how best can you use this, not just as an opportunity to raise money from your current donors, but how can you make yourself appealing to those folks that may have never heard about you before? Because I feel like, going back to Britt's point, we understand that folks have multiple events going on, but I think sometimes if you get so focused on those other fundraising activities in your current donor base, you're missing the opportunity of who you can acquire that's brand new to your organization. And I think that's just as important as anything else within, this exercise of the participation in Connect to a Cause.
Yeah, no, that's great. We have our 7th annual Diversity and Inclusion Conference the next day, that Friday and Saturday. And so for us as a team, it's like, okay, these people will make them aware because they're on our email thread and they follow us on social media, but we're not asking them to fully engage and connect to a cause. We have to look at this whole other pocket of people because we have our EOD luncheon next week. And so those people, we're like, I want you to be aware, and if you feel comfortable, participate, but you're buying $35 tickets to come to this event. So you have to look at donors in different pockets because you don't want to overwhelm your donor about asking them multiple times for funding for different things. So I completely respect that, but just be mindful, there's so many people in the world, right, that can donate during those 12 hours of time. So how do you connect to them?
And Paris, I was going to say, I'm brainstorming, right? So you have an event next week. You could put a QR code and connect to a cause and the Urban League logo, and they can be on the middle of the tables. And so it can be the save the date for all those people that are coming, that they remember that you asked them to participate that day, right? And so what other opportunities between now and September 16th do you have that you can, print those QR codes and put your logo on it? I mean, it's going to be everywhere. So every moment that you can, earmark something in someone's head, they're going to remember. I only donate to organizations that ask me, and I was only asked by 4 people last year. And that's just honest. I was asked by 4, I donated to all 4. Now, if all 65 ask me this time, I'm going to have to donate to all 65, which is fine. But that's the point. Here's someone in the community who's out. I work at the Community Foundation, but who asked me? And so make sure that you are putting yourself out there. I also saw, I think last year, the Urban League bought some ads. I remember scrolling through and seeing some stuff sponsored. So know that at the Community Foundation, like Laura said, we are the big umbrella. We are buying the ads, but we're promoting the day and all of you, not one of you. So of course, people are going to remember Connect to a Cause and Community Foundation in the day, but it's really up to you to make sure you're making those impressions in people's minds so that they will remember your organization.
And I would say just think too about your network and think about the idea, last year we had the focus of this being a pass-through event because so many organizations were in need. And while we do have a vast majority of this still being passed through, there is a portion of this that is going to your endowments as well. And there is an audience where that really resonates. So we've had an organization where one of their board members has come to us and said that they're going to do a 1-for-1 match that day for all the money raised. And they're going to do that match up to $25,000. So, for every dollar that organization raises that day, they're effectively going to be doubling their money because of that match. And if they make it all the way to $25,000, that's awesome. But think about the folks that the endowment piece resonates with as well, because that's a portion of what's going there. And you may find that there's folks, in this case with this match, that match is going exclusively for the organization's endowment because that person feels so strongly about how important that is to the well-being of the organization. So, boy, Britt, you're getting all sorts of pitches right now.
I'm adding it to my list. I'm adding it. I have a list. I have one, I promise.
So, that's another thing to keep in mind is just, the different fragments and going back to the idea of, other events, everybody still has certain ripple effects of things that didn't get to happen because of COVID. And even if they're back on the upswing with certain things, there's still certain things that they may not have been able to address last year, that it may be a whole nother year before they circle back to being able to address that. And that was a discussion I had with one of the organizations last week, was they have an event coming up right around the time of Connect to a Cause, but they have a whole nother segment that didn't have their event within the last year or so. So a lot of their targeted outreach may be to those folks that support that piece of the puzzle, because they know that that segment hasn't had an opportunity to give and support that specific cause or that specific project for over a year. They haven't been targeted. So how can, Jennifer talked about last week with the Metro Parks that their focus is the Raptors because of COVID, they lost a lot of food sources for how they take care of the Raptors that they have. So that's their main focus for this year. That's their specific ask that they're doing this year. So there's a lot of different ways to structure this. Anybody else have any questions? I know there's been questions coming through the chat, but does anyone want to unmute and ask any questions to Paris or Achilles or chime in on any other thoughts or feedback?
I just wanted to add, I know Paris and Achilles, you said you weren't sure if you were pretty sure that it rolled over like from Facebook to Instagram, as long as it's within certain parameters. So if you're using Canva, I know they have one that you can set up that says Instagram. So if you create everything in that, it will roll over, but depending on what your shapes are, that's the only reason it wouldn't roll over if you've connected them.
You're on mute, Paris.
You're on mute, Paris.
Thank you. That's extremely important if you want to do time too. Like Achilles and I will be like, just make them Instagram size because we have a different following on Instagram than we do on Facebook. So we post the Instagram size on Facebook and it looks fine. But you have to be mindful of that or you're creating two graphics. And sometimes we have to do that because it just needs to be right. But I didn't think about that, Jen. Of course it can't cross over. It'll look all weird, like zoomed in, not weird, zoomed in.
And the one platform that not a lot of people talk about is LinkedIn. So we get a lot of people who interact with our LinkedIn. And obviously it's not necessarily organizations, but people. And so make sure if you have those that you're interacting with those as well. And I will say, for all of us on the call who actually run the social media, we're like, nope, we don't just sit with the phone and like post stuff all the time. We use at the Community Foundation, Sprout Social. So I literally go through and program 90% of the stuff that you see on our platforms ahead of time. And so it's godsend, right? Like I need that. I need to be able to do that. And then as things arise, I can go and interact and post quickly if need be. But it's a way to keep you super organized. And yes, I see all you guys asking me and I'm putting you on my list. I'm going to be broke after September, but that's okay because I'm donating to all these great organizations. But just know that there are tools and things out there. Some of them do cost, some of them are free. We are always here to help strategize with you, to come up with ideas. I hear things all the time, like, I didn't think about that. Let me incorporate that with everyone. So please keep sharing and letting us know and giving us feedback because we want to make sure that all of you are successful on not just September 17th, but all together all the time.
We use Hootsuite for the free version has limited you to 2 social networks, but that actually works because since Facebook connects to Instagram, I schedule there, and then I have the LinkedIn and the Twitter on Hootsuite. So I'm only trying to balance 2 different things, but and Hootsuite and Twitter have similar sizing formats. The only thing that limits you is the Twitter word count. So, if I really get wordy, I may have to post 2 separate posts, but it keeps me condensed too.
And then Jennifer Black, I don't mean to call you out, but I saw your box kind of light up for a second, but I wasn't hearing anything. So I wasn't sure if you were trying to ask a question and just was struggling to get through.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, great, thanks.
And I was going to add really quick, because I know Cole and I have been playing around with some things. Canva has like switched up the game a little bit. They're making it so you can do videos. So, we have contracted with people before to help us build videos and do this and do that. But now they're making it so easy that we can just put everything in there and it does the video for you. So if you do not have that free nonprofit account, please sign up now. It does take a couple of weeks, but you'll get approved and you can just make all your stuff. So any videos and stuff that you see for Connect with Calls, Cole Thompson, our Leadership Lorain County intern, has designed the majority of them. I only got a couple more days with him left. and he won't be with us on Connect to a Cause, but I'm sure he'll see all the stuff on social media while he's off at school. So thank you. But yeah, please try new things. Just put it out there.
Anybody else have any other questions? And then I personally want to be, and Paris, I'm gonna maybe embarrass you for a second here, but I want to, give a huge shout out to Paris and the Urban League related to regular endowments. And, Paris just created their endowment at the end of last year, beginning of this year. And I just love, 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 love what they have done on their website to promote the endowment. So if you look on, I'm sharing the page right now. I think you can see that. And just the idea of how the gift to the endowment is a gift of forever, promoting the way that it can be not just a gift of cash and credit card, but it can be stock, real estate, wire transfers, legacy giving. It's so clean, it's so friendly. When I first saw this, Paris and I played phone tag for like 3 days, just like, oh my God, Paris, I love this, thank you so much. Just because the endowment is all year round and forever. And, while this isn't, specifically about the endowment for Connect to a Cause, I just feel like this is a great opportunity to share, because all of you have endowments, the utilization that not all of you may be tapping into in how you generate that messaging. So I just want to, thank Paris again for her work on this and for, what they've done to really, make that easy and make that user-friendly for their audience as well. And then I just want to point out, just a reminder to everybody, as I mentioned before, we are looking to get in front of more of the Rotaries, Lions clubs, chambers of commerce, different organizations like that to help promote all of the organizations. So if there is a group that anyone is aware of that we can help speak to on behalf of Connect to a Cause and, lifting the tide for all boats, we are happy to do that. Britt, did you want to share about BVU on August 20th, just so everyone's aware?
Yeah, so we have a couple of things coming up. So per all of our nonprofit partners who fill out surveys requests, we have succession planning on August 20th from 9 to 11, and it will be via Zoom. But this is the opportunity, when we talk about leadership changes and board changes, what's the plan? Let's put a plan in place. So we're working with BVU, and we're going to have that. And as soon as I can find it, I will put the link in the chat. I think some of you are actually signed up for those. I know we have a couple of other Connect to a Cause opportunities coming up. And then the last thing I will say, our Lorain County Scholars Connect program. So it's like a different social media platform. It's like LinkedIn, but for people in Lorain County. Please sign up for that. That is another avenue in which you can network with individuals and, our younger generation. So our youth that are in college, who just graduated from college, we're getting ready to go. This is how you stay connected with that next generation. We normally, when we talk about donating, talk about our older demographic. And while we love them and we are there for them, we really need to work on all of it, right? Everything in between. So sign up for Lorain County Scholars Connect so you can start networking with those individuals. And that's it for me.
And then one final BVU related thing. I know we mentioned during the orientation that Ask the Expert. Those events are going on in October and November. I want to thank those folks that chimed in about areas that they want to talk to an expert. Asada, I know that you sent me some stuff via email and other folks responded to the chat. If there's any other thoughts you have that you need about experts that you want to speak to, learn from, this is typically a free 1-hour session with these experts to be able to, benefit from their knowledge and expertise. With both of these dates coming up, you could easily set up one expert for October, a second expert for November, and get the best bang for your buck. We are honing in on this to our Connect to a Cause participants as an added value add for your participation in Connect to a Cause. So definitely, if there's experts that you want to hear from or want us to reach out to set up those one-on-one discussions, let me know those topics. We are working on reaching out to those experts within the next couple of weeks to get their commitment. So feel free to reach out and let me know. And then any final questions for Paris or Achilles before we thank them and let everybody get back to their day?
Achilles, where are you? You're like the coolest
At
place.
El Centro.
Okay, I'm like,
We
what is
have another
happening?
event at 11, so you know you have to
Okay.
use your partners wisely. I'm like, you
Okay.
gotta go to El Centro early because we already told them we were doing this. So
Awesome.
Victor's just being funny. Tell Victor we said hi.
I will.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you all for joining us. And Laura, when's our next one? Thursday?
Our next one is Thursday at noon. That is a lunch one instead of the morning coffee that we've been doing. So, and that is with Blessing House, and a lot of their focus is going to be, you know, they had their building campaign going on last year for their new facility. So how they integrated this into that ask. And then we have one more next week with Neighborhood Alliance on the 11th. So feel free to share the word, join us for the others if you have the time. And thank you again to Paris and Achilles for all your great work, not just with Connect to a Cause, but with what you guys do with the Urban League. And we're so grateful to have you guys as collaborators. So, oh, look at that People Who Care t-shirt.
Look, it's just
Maria.
branding everywhere.
One of the interns that was there for the scholarship event this year, Marie, say hi. She's like, oh, what are you doing to me?
All right, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Talk to you all soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye.